Hello, welcome. It's good to have you. Happy December. Welcome. See people joining. Can someone just give me a note in the chat or let me know if you can hear me? Awesome. Well, yes, thank you. I see a yes. Thank you so much. Great. So, welcome to everyone. My name is Kim Patterson. I'm going to take you through this session today. And hopefully, you are here to learn more about Mosaic Consulting Group and the strategic system reviews that we offer. And I'm going to walk you through a lot about them. And what I would love for you to take away from this is not only that we are offering strategic system reviews and some free optimization hours along with that, but also just in general, the benefits of keeping your system in good shape, making sure that you are optimizing it, and also that you are keeping an eye at all times on adoption and what you can do to enhance that. And that's really what we're going to talk about, are all the things that you can do to make sure that you take this system. In this case, we're going to talk a lot about UKG. Mosaic Consulting Group is UKG's number one partner. We're the largest partner. We're also the partner of the year in 2025 with UKG. And so we know a thing or two about this system. We have been implementing UKG for over 13 years. Definitely want to help you understand more about how to optimize the system and what are some things you can do, but really the why. And I think that that's system agnostic. You are more than likely using a number of sophisticated systems that are constantly going through updates and are perhaps costly, most of the time costly. If you're investing in these systems, then how do you make sure that you're getting the most return on investment as possible for that? So that's really what we're going to talk about. Just to give you a little bit more about me, as I mentioned, I'm the Director of Strategic Services. So my team does strategic system reviews, amongst other things. I come from a human resources and learning and development background. So I was in a place where many of you may be as well, where I was responsible for a system. We at that time had Kronos and UltiPro back in the day. So we actually implemented that while I was the VP of Learning and Development in a retail environment. And like you may be, I was responsible for a very important and sophisticated HRIS system that my expertise was not system related. My expertise was people related, but yet I needed to make sure I understood enough about it to be able to leverage it well for the organization and to make sure that we were maximizing our investment. So that's really, again, what I want to help you with. I've been in your shoes if you're there, and definitely want to help you to think that through. So here's just a short agenda. That's what we're going to walk through. As you're taking a look at that agenda, just please know I'm going to leave some time at the end for questions. I will keep an eye on the chat and make sure that I can get to the questions that you may put in the chat, either real time or when we get to the end of things. I will definitely address things and follow up if necessary afterwards as well. So please share any thoughts you have, questions, comments, anything like that as we go along in the chat. And then we can speak live at the end if you have some additional thoughts or questions. As you are taking a look at that agenda, I just want to mention the idea of a strategic system review, because at Mosaic Consulting Group, we call it a strategic system review, not just a system review. And strategic services is heavily involved, as I mentioned in that. What's so strategic about a strategic system review? We call it that because we are doing a deep dive into the system. I'll talk a little bit more about that deep dive in just a few moments. But we are also taking a holistic approach to things. We don't just look at the system, we look at the processes that are going in and out of the system, wanting to understand how you are leveraging the system as part of that process, your HR processes from hire to retire, as we like to say, your payroll processes, and others. The whole performance life cycle of employees could be included in this. So we want to make sure that we understand exactly what that looks like for you, how you are leveraging it as part of your HR processes and as part of a larger system, more than likely. And then we also want to understand the people side of things. So many of our team members are certified in organizational change management, and we want to know, we want to help you with not just the system itself, but how's it being adopted? How are people leveraging it? Are they leveraging it? There are pretty sobering statistics out there that say that only about a third of employees are actually leveraging the HRIS system that you have on a day in, day out basis. And that's not very much if you consider that some of those could be admins, could be people that are, I will say, having to use the system, manager level and above. So how do we get to a point where we can really maximize that more? Again, we're taking a holistic approach. We are also conducting sessions that are not just about the research that we're conducting into the system itself, but also about the stakeholders that are using the system, the end users of the system. Who are the people? What are your goals? How do you want to use the system? We want to understand that so that we can help you to create a solution that is not just, as I like to say, not just one size fits all, but one size fits one. So that's really the goal of a strategic system review, is that we are creating a solution that works for you. And many of you may be at a point where you feel like the system is not working for you, you are working for it. So we want to help turn the tables on that and give you a hand so that you feel like you've got the upper hand. So with that, here's some of what is a strategic system review. We are, of course, going to take a look at your configuration. We have experts in every module from an HCM standpoint of the system and in every entitlement on the WFM or workforce management side of the system, who we bring in specifically to review that particular module or entitlement. So if you right now have workforce management timekeeping and leave and accruals, we will bring in subject matter experts in those particular areas, and they will be the ones who are reviewing your configuration. And we leverage a lot of the same experts over and over again to do our system reviews, because they get practiced at it, and they get practiced not just in consulting about the system, but on troubleshooting and seeing where there are common issues or errors that are made, and then providing you best practice and the wisdom of their knowledge and experience to help you then optimize and get to a better place if there are issues that you're experiencing, pain points that you have. So they're going to get in there and really help you. And we conduct working sessions as a part of that. So they're interviewing the project team who would be involved. So again, if this is workforce management, for example, then who is it that is the admin for the system on the client side of things, and we will work with that individual or individuals to make sure that we're talking through why things are the way they are. We want to understand that as well, because sometimes something that could be construed as not a best practice might be working for you for some reason. There may be a purpose for why you're doing it a certain way. And we want to understand that as part of getting the whole picture and gathering all the information that we can so that we can put together that one size fits one recommendation. So we're going to take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at not just what we see and what pain points you're able to vocalize for us, but also what don't we see? What are things that you could be doing with the system that you're not? What are best practices that others are doing to leverage the system optimally that you're not? And we'll bring that to you as well. And these working sessions are really meant to be teachable moments as well, where we can help you on the fly as we're going along, as we're taking a look and screen sharing and looking at what your configuration looks like, or reports or things that we will pull, dashboards that we have access to. We're going to take a look at those things, and we're going to help you to learn on the fly as we go along. And then we'll also make sure that we follow up with some solid deliverables. So deliverables will look like system reviews, an actual system diagram. It will be process workflows, current state workflows to understand, hey, here's how things are being leveraged right now, what processes are in place right now, and how they enter into the system and all of that. And then we'll also give you then a gap analysis. So that gap analysis will help you to understand if this is what it looks like current state, and you want to get to a different future state, and or we could recommend a different future state for you, what's it going to take to get there? And then we'll put that all together in a final recommendations. And those final recommendations, once again, because we've gotten to know you and understand what your needs are for the system, the specifics of your industry, the size of your organization, how many FEINs you have, all of the details that we will gather along the way, we'll then put together recommendations that once again are one size fits one for you. Understanding you, we will also then help you prioritize. We'll give you some things that we know must be addressed right away. That would be the number one thing. And then we will give you the nice to haves, or the things that might come later on down the line after you address the must-haves. So I kind of like to compare it a lot of times to going to get your car serviced. You go in and you know there's a problem with the brakes, for example. It's squeaking, probably need new brake pads, you're not quite sure, but you bring it in to get it serviced. And when you get it serviced, because you know you have certain pain points, you are going to get more than likely back from the service advisor that you have been working with. You're going to get a multi-point inspection, and that multi-point inspection is going to have more than likely the brakes, but then anything else that they may have seen along the way, and they're going to give you that priority. Okay, so we saw the brakes. Yeah, the brakes pads definitely need to be changed out. We also are seeing that your tires, the tread, the wear and tear on them, probably going to need to get to those the next time you visit, maybe within the next 3 to 6 months. We'll do the same thing. We'll give you prioritization and then a roadmap for how to go about attacking those things that will help you then get to the point where you have better adoption and better optimization of your system. And we'll also help you, again, as we get to know you and understand you, we'll help you with what are the things you might be able to tackle yourself, and what are the things that you might be better off getting some expertise and some support with how to fix. And so we will give you those recommendations all as part of the final deliverables that we give you when we do a strategic system review. And all of these things lead to a path for optimization. So then the work really happens at that point. What do we need to do to optimize, and where do we start? And as you may have seen at the beginning of this presentation, that is something where also we are providing some help with optimization, 15 free hours to get you started on that. So as part of what we're offering here, we'll also support you with some free optimization hours, and we'll give you recommendations around where that might be best utilized as well. So that's what a strategic system review is. Let's talk a little bit about why it matters. With the best of intentions, a lot of times organizations get into an implementation or a migration of a sophisticated system like UKG or UKG workforce management, and they want to do things right and do things well, of course, and maximize the adoption of the system. But this is often not your real job, not your only job, we'll say. Got your day job, and then this is something, this implementation, which often is a humongous effort on the part of the project team. We know it. We work with a ton of organizations through implementations and migrations, and we know the effort you're putting in because we're right there with you, putting in the effort as well. But it's a huge effort, and with the best of intentions, a lot of times the thought processes around what's going to be automated, how much self-service you're going to leverage, all of the goals and things and the success criteria that you've come up with at the beginning starts to fall by the wayside. And as a team, we try to help you stick to that. But a lot of times prioritization does happen and we get to go live. And the intention is we'll take care of it after go live from a client perspective. And then maybe you never do. Maybe you go live and 6 months later, all those processes that you intended to automate after go live are still not automated. And you just stop. And so adoption isn't where it could be. Maybe adoption isn't where it could be to begin with. Perhaps there were some things that got in the way, conflicting priorities, training issues, communication errors, what have you, that cause failures in the adoption to begin with. That happens. Other times, it's a sophisticated system. It can be intimidating to some. If that adoption, the time spent at the front end to actually make sure it implements well and it's demystified, it can be difficult to pick that up later, and then users disengage. All of those things are things that we hear when we talk to people. Sometimes it's a year, sometimes less, sometimes it's 2 years, sometimes it's 10 years later when people come to us with the frustrations of, I don't know how we got here. I didn't implement this system, or maybe I did, but it's way different now. We did some customizations along the way, and we haven't been able to make updates as a result of those customizations. And now we don't know how to unravel the spaghetti. All we know is that it is not doing what it needs to for us. And we need help, and we need somebody to figure out and put that path out there for us to get us to a good place again, because our investment in this is just not being realized anymore at this point. So we know what that pain looks like. We see that. And many, many times we can trace it back to the implementation itself and how that went, and whether or not the adoption or the optimization actually happened and continued, and the efforts continued after go live. We can trace it back, but no matter what, we are where we are when people are coming to us for that system review, and we know you need help. So that's why it's important. Who benefits from that? I'm giving you I'll call worst case scenario examples of the system's inefficient, it's not optimized, it's not doing what we need it to do. We do have clients come to us that say, hey, you know what? It's actually working pretty well for us. We just don't know what we don't know. We want some experts to talk to us about what are the things that this system can do. And over time, we know that it has evolved. We just haven't evolved with it. And so we want you to take a look and tell us the things that we could do better and that we could leverage more of with our system. That's another reason why people come to us. We also see people come to us very frequently because they have been involved with a merger, an acquisition, a divestiture, some type of change in the structure of the organization. Perhaps the other organization comes in and they have a different system, and now they are needing to merge into and leverage the use of UKG where they've never had it before. Maybe they have their own instance of UKG, and there are two instances coming together in some way. So lots of that also happens. It's because of a good thing. It's because of growth. It's because of evolving of an organization. But yet the challenges are the same, to figure out how do we make sure that we do this as cleanly as possible and as well as possible so that we maximize that system, the use of that system that we have. So many, many different reasons why people come to us and why people would benefit from a strategic system review. All of them are valid, and all of them are good reasons to take a good look at what your system is currently doing for you. Some benefits around it: we can get you to a point where you have optimal system configuration. We can make sure, as I mentioned before, because we are looking at it holistically, we're not just looking at configuration itself. We can make sure that processes are optimized that are going into and coming out of the system as well, and that we can give you recommendations around that. Compliance is another big reason that people come to us. They want to make sure that everything is updated with their system. And again, sobering statistics out there right now, a 2023 report, SHRM, actually spoke to this and said that over 20% of the violations around compliance that are out there are typically because of failure to update workflows and processes in the system. And so that's something that we are talking directly about when we're talking about a strategic system review, something that we would have a goal of making sure that everything is updated to its optimal configuration so that we can avoid those sorts of things. And the user experience, we haven't spoken a lot about that. It's not just about compliance. It's not just about workflows and things behind the scenes. It's also that user experience. What does that look like? If adoption is typically that low, about a quarter of the organizations that implement an HRIS system like UKG will come away from that implementation and say, we don't feel like it adopted well. So how do we make sure that we enhance that? What can we do about it now? Those are all things that are benefits of going through this process. Here are some common gaps we find. Some of that speaks to the sort of the opposite of the benefits that we spoke about. I've given you some statistics as well to think about. Some other things to know about these gaps that we find. So for example, I'll address the bullet point about siloed ownership across departments. I'm sure there are probably people on this call that have experienced duplication of efforts because you're doing the same thing in the system in different departments, and the two departments are not communicating, and the system is not communicating across those two departments. It's not being leveraged efficiently. And that can cost hundreds of additional hours within an organization. Customized. So this is something we may not think about. Highly customized workflows can actually end up costing 2 to 3 times more than if you just leveraged the system to the fullest of its capabilities. And so sometimes we think we have to customize to get it to do what we need it to do, but a system review might be able to tell you that it already can. And in many cases it does. So these are common gaps that we find, that we address, and then put a plan together, a roadmap for how to action on these gaps. To give you an example, and again, I'm giving you a real world example of a current client. They're a really fun client that we are working with that are from the entertainment industry, and they're currently going through migration, but they came to us first about 1.5 years ago to do a strategic system review. Worst case scenario with this client, literally the first conversation we had with them was no pressure, but the outcome of this system review will determine whether we stay on UKG or whether we go somewhere else. We are that fed up at this point. We don't think the system can do what we want it to do, but we've invested a significant amount in the system. And so before we just throw that away, we want to invest in doing a system review to tell us whether or not we're right about this hunch that we have, that we basically are going to need to give up and start all over again with another system. So we were able to go through a thorough system review with them. And the outcome of that system review revealed not only that the system could do what they needed it to do, but that there were a lot of really positive opportunities to continue to build upon what the system already was doing for them and get them to an optimal point where it could really do a lot more. And so fast forward now 1.5 years later, and again, they're still a client of ours, and they are migrating right now implementing workforce management with us. So the good news, I think, and it's mutual good news, they're a great client with us, but also for them, they were able to save that investment that they made into purchasing the system in the first place, and then recoup and reinvest those dollars in their system optimization versus what it would have cost them to go and start all over again. So just want to give you, as we're kind of closing out this conversation, a little checklist just to think about. One thing I want to point out is it doesn't have to be a problem. Do like you do when you bring your vehicle in for service, and periodically look to maintain your system. Utilize expertise like we have available to do a checkup on your system. Do a health check, see how it's working for you, see what could be done better, and maintain it so that it doesn't get to a point like that client I just gave you the example of, and you can maintain and thrive and do a lot better with your system. So that's the goal. That's what we want for you. You can really transform UKG into a strategic advantage for you. So thank you for your time. And just want to mention again that if you book your system review before January 31st of 2026, we are offering that 15 free hours, of optimization. And we'd love to talk to you more about it. So you can reach out to info@mosaicCG.com and we can share more information with you. I will make sure to look at the chat. I know that we've had a moderator who's been helping, but we will make sure to answer any other questions. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy holidays.